Very interesting development here. Question on the table for today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Chicago Bears put in a waiver claim on Darius Shaq Leonard. We will talk about all that and more in today's episode. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Only channel talks Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Now, of course, the only reason that we're having this conversation, right, is because Matt Eberflus is here, and he was a part of a defense that Darius Leonard basically thrived in, that he played really well in. And so the question mark on the table today is, should the Chicago Bears put in a waiver claim on Shaq Leonard, who was recently released by the Colts? Literally, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes ago, puts out an Instagram post talking about, he's very thankful for his time in Indianapolis. And it just seems that, right, like Darius Leonard's time in Indianapolis being cut short, it raises a lot of question marks when you talk about the player, when you talk about this team. The number one thing for me, though, is the money. The first thing I did was text Courtney Crone. I said, any chance that the Bears put in a claim on Shaq Leonard, a lot of money on the books for him. She came back and answered, I don't know how they justified that with two massive linebacker contracts that they already have. And I agree with her on that. The only reason you're having this conversation, like I said, is because Flus is here. You know, Shaq Leonard has had a couple of down years, I guess, one coming off of injury. But the next year after that, right, you're talking about him as, or I should say this year, you're talking about him as somebody who's had 0 sacks this season, 0 interceptions this season. But Darius Leonard has been an absolute monster and has been a turnover machine in his career. I'm kind of surprised to see him getting released. I get it, right? He's having a down year, but the Colts are having a down year. The Colts are not playing well, and they're not always a team that makes the best decisions, right? I'm not saying that they're one of those, like, this is a Mike Tomlin situation. If they're willing to let him go, you can't go after him. But it is very interesting to me that you would try to get out from under Shaq Leonard. And again, maybe it could be the contract situation. They did have a potential out in 2024 anyway. But I mean, $13 million on the books next year, $14 million on the books year after that, $19 million. Finally, can the Chicago Bears afford to add that to their linebacker room if they did pick him up off of waivers? That is something that I do not see the Bears looking to do moving forward. And it just doesn't fit with Ryan Poles' philosophy, right? Like, why did you let Roquan Smith walk? You let him walk because you felt like you were going to be paying him too much money for what the value of that position is. Okay, why then all of a sudden would you be looking to pay Shaq Leonard in a similar fashion? Now, of course, Roquan making much more now than Shaq Leonard is, but like in a similar fashion, basically, to we're going to have this guy on our team who's going to be one of the highest paid linebackers in the NFL. He's an interesting prospect to me. I love the player. I do think that if you put him back in a system very similar to what the Chicago Bears are running, that his success would start to return. I also think that just having him on a defense that accentuates more of his talents would allow him to return. Remember, he was a guy who was a monster at the peanut punch. He was perfecting it. He was punching a football out almost every other week in 2022. He was a dominant player, and he's had a little bit of a down season, and maybe that's the reason that they're looking to move off of him. I'd wonder if there's more going on there with the situation. I'm not going to speculate on what could be happening there, but the fact that they're just so willing to move off of him willy-nilly like that, to me, raises some eyebrows, and I think should raise some eyebrows with a lot of people. But I mean, as far as the player, I do think the player can return, but I don't think that the Bears are at that spot yet, right? That's a move you make when you've already got your 3 technique hemmed up, when you've already got, right? Yes, you have Montez Sweat. You've signed him. You love to have that. But that's a move you make when you've got your front line ready to go so that he's able to step in and be that guy yet again. And then you have to ask yourself the question, right? What would you do in that situation? Do you move Tremaine back to being an off-ball linebacker and let him be middle linebacker, right? Like, what are you going to change in this season that's going to bring Shaq Leonard back? That's the biggest question that I'd have around making a move like that. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. Are you more in on going to get a guy like Shaq Leonard, who, I mean, listen, has had success in this defense? We can't act like he hasn't, but it's definitely been a little bit of a down year since we saw him come into the league in 2018. Comparatively, I mean, heck, 2022, one of his better years, right? Like, we haven't even seen that guy return yet. And so there's a ton of question marks there. Of course, the injury concerns that are around him. He missed the entire last season, only played 3 games last year. To me, it's not the right time for the Bears to make a move like this. I think that he's going to land on a team. He's going to go out there and he's going to absolutely return to the player that he once was. He's going to be that guy that we all looked at one point and said, my God, like, this guy's forcing a turnover left and right. And I think that the Bears defense is building towards being a defense that can be something like that and can use a player like Shaq Leonard. I just think the timing of this is wrong. The money on this contract is wrong. You need to focus your money on other positions. You might be out there looking to pick somebody up in the center market this year coming into free agency, right? Like, to me, that's where the main focus for the Chicago Bears needs to be. Fixing these trenches, and then you go out there and you add in these impact linebackers. And to be honest with you, right, like, this is a move where, yes, he's still young, 28 years old. He fits the right timeline. But the fact that money's already attached and you're talking about possibly throwing a waiver claim on him, I don't think that, you know, that's the right move for the Bears to all of a sudden be successful going into next season, right? Maybe it's something that could set you up. But I think, you're going to see teams who are kind of on the cusp or a little bit more like, we're kind of there. And if we can get a couple of people, right? Like, the Steelers have been a team for me that I've been surprised by all season. You know, when I look at the Steelers, you know, I look at a team that's like, okay, you know, maybe you can make a trade for Jalen Johnson, or maybe you can go put in a waiver claim on a Shaq Barrett. And those are moves that put you over the top defensively, because you're just trying to make it so that Kenny Pickett can all of a sudden do enough. I don't know if they make a major move either after firing Matt Canada today, but we'll see, you know, what it ends up being. I would love to see the odds on kind of who's the odds on favorite to end up landing him. I would assume he probably clears waivers. I mean, that's a lot of money on that deal, right? Like, unless you feel like he's the guy that really gets you the job done. I mean, like, why not let the Colts eat it? Why not let the Colts have to deal with that? Jason OTC out here tweeted this out. Said the Leonard extension winds up being a really bad one for the Colts, assuming he is not claimed. Again, this is assuming he is not claimed. He will earn $42.9 million of his $98.5 million contract extension from Indy. He played a total of 12 games in years not covered by his original rookie contract. Like, why wouldn't you let him clear waivers? And then, of course, he signs to whatever team you want him to sign to. I guess if the Bears were like, nope, that's the guy. But then you got to believe that Matt Eberflus is the guy. Who the heck believes that right now? Too many questions on the move. I'm out on the move personally. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, man, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bears content. Click the links on the screen. Check the links in the description below. We will still have the daily show up for you guys later today. Live Tuesday is probably going to be me and Kid and possibly Ringo on there as well. But as always, man, y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Peace.